Ladies and gentlemen, Shinsuke Nakamura is your #1 contender for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam. What's going on, everybody? Dawsonator here, back again with your Smackdown Live review for the 1st of August 2017. Very excited the news of Shinsuke Nakamura being the #1 contender, but we will run down the show by order and let's get into it. First off, we had a match to start the show. Perfect, that's exactly what I was talking about. Getting the show off to a good start with two awesome wrestlers that can carry a bloody good match for 2 or 3 commercial breaks, get the crowd into the show. That's exactly what I was after. AJ Styles defended his United States Championship against Kevin Owens, you guessed it, and the match was, from what I could tell, a very good match. Plenty of good spots, but the finish was a bit interesting. It's obviously setting up the match for SummerSlam, which I didn't quite expect Kevin Owens and AJ Styles to have another match, but they're having it. I think that's going to be like 4 matches on TV in the last month, so it's going to be a bit interesting. Well, the finish of the match was a bit different. AJ Styles was about to be punched in the face by Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens sort of threw a wayward right hand. AJ dodged and it hit the referee in the face, just above his eye. AJ was about to go up for the pop-up powerbomb and get beaten for his title, but he turned it into a roll-up. Kevin Owens clearly got his shoulder up before even the 1 count. The referee could not see it from his angles. Kevin Owens was completely screwed out of winning the US title back, so he completely went ballistic after the match. After AJ had celebrated and got out of the ring, there was a backstage segment with Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon talking about what they're going to do with the referee. Mike Chioda, the referee, apologised because he couldn't see. They recognised that it was a bad call. Kevin Owens came in throwing everything he could see, chucking a big fat tanty, demanded another rematch and demanded to have another referee that could do his job properly. Daniel Bryan intervened and said, Shane will be your referee at SummerSlam. So Shane agreed to that. Kevin Owens was not too happy because he doesn't believe Shane can do a good enough job. We had Kevin Owens crack a tanty about it. Shane basically said, look, if you want to have the match, you deal with it. Otherwise, you don't have the match. If the AJ wins again, it looks like they'll head in the direction of maybe Kevin Owens beating the absolute shit out of Shane McMahon after the match and possibly leading into a program at Survivor Series. Depends what sort of beating he gives him. If he absolutely destroys him, you might not see Shane for 6 months and he comes back at the Royal Rumble or something and there's your match for WrestleMania. Or maybe Shane turns heel on AJ. Remember the WrestleMania feud that AJ and Shane McMahon had? AJ put his head through a car window and beat the living crap out of him and then pinned him clean at WrestleMania. So maybe Shane wants to turn heel. He could definitely pick his spot to get some revenge on AJ Styles. So that could be a factor as well to keep an eye out for. But overall, I'm looking forward to the match at SummerSlam. I think it will be a great match. Possibly some sort of spot from Shane McMahon. Who knows? We'll just have to wait and see. Moving on now, we had the Usos come out for a promo about how they made the New Day their whipping boys. It was just a typical heel promo. They basically said how they own the place and they're going to take their titles back and beat the crap out of the New Day. We had no New Day appearance on this show. They're obviously selling their injuries from the beatdown they took last week. Moving on now to backstage segment with Tyler Breeze on the hunt for Fandango. Now, Tyler Breeze is playing a detective it's pretty funny stuff, quite comedic and well written. So Tyler Breeze is obviously looking for Fandango. There's wanted posters with Fandango's face cropped in on it and all these other pictures of like Tony Chimmel and Kane on this bulletin board, just really obscure stuff. And Fandango's seen with the Ascension in this dream that Tyler Breeze is having, and he wakes up from his nightmare and he thinks he knows where Fandango is. So I guess next week we'll find out, but we still don't know who's actually taking Fandango. So I don't know if it's going to be a guy from NXT or something like that, but I guess we'll find out next week. So we had a backstage segment with Lana and Tamina, who actually didn't turn up on the show. Lana basically cowering and apologising to Tamina that, you know, it was her fault that they lost in the tag team match last week. And she was very apologetic in her Russian way and says that she looks up to her, and it was quite quite interesting to watch the dynamic between the two. I still don't get why they don't just let her speak English. Lana basically said that she wants to be like Tamina, but better looking and more ravishing and Russian. Tamina, I swear, was going to say damn, just like Ron Simmons afterwards. She had that look on her face. I just so expected her to be like damn, but she said that she's going to challenge Charlotte. Why? I don't quite understand why they're pushing someone who cannot wrestle at all to save their life. Like, I watched it again last week. My missus watched it and was just flabbergasted that someone like Charlotte is wrestling someone like Lana who really, it looks like she struggles with simple stuff like bumping. And I watched last week when she copped a big boot from Charlotte, and that was in the end of the match. She looked like she reacted way too late, and it was just that inexperienced thing where she didn't quite know how to fall. She's so awkward in the ring. They've really got to maybe understand why they don't just leave her in NXT. They did that with Eva Marie for so long. Leave her in NXT, let her get better, let her be in the developmental system. She's got a lot more developing to do. So I don't understand why they don't give her that opportunity. It's very disappointing. So now next week we're going to have to have the possibility of Charlotte versus Lana in a squash match. I don't want to see that. I want to see Charlotte versus someone that can wrestle like Tamina, or that's my thoughts on that. It would just be nice to see a decent match without Lana stinking out the joints. So we had Aiden English from the Vaudevillains versus, I mean, I guess they're not a thing. Whatever happened to that other dude from the Vaudevillains? I think he got fired, didn't he? Because he failed a drug test, I'm pretty sure. I think he failed one the same time Roman Reigns did, so I could be completely wrong. But so we had Sami Zayn versus, Aiden English. Apparently it was the first time he ever was able to sing his song the whole way through without being interrupted. So got a lot of heat after finishing his song, and so that's good to see. A heel should always be able to gather some heat before a match or during the match or anything like that. Any heat is good heat, so he'll take that. Aiden English was actually able to win the match completely clean, which is a bit of a surprise from a heel, but he got a good win over Sami Zayn. And then Mike and Maria Kanellis came out to make fun of Sami Zayn. Good win for Aiden English. Sami Zayn seems to be a bit lost in the shuffle at the moment, which is a little bit disappointing. I would like to see Sami in a bit more of a meaningful feud. Hopefully there's a bright future for Sami Zayn, but at the moment it's not looking too good. We move on. We had a tag team match in the women's division between Naomi, Becky Lynch versus Natalya and Carmella. Apparently Natalya and Carmella are good friends now. They posted a photo on Instagram of themselves. I do like Carmella's free James Ellsworth t-shirt as well. That's quite humorous. There's retarded looking chin on there. Naomi and Becky Lynch win the match. Naomi got the submission over Carmella. Becky stopped Natalya from getting in the ring and saved the match. And Naomi was wearing some pretty sick looking gear. She was wearing this orangey lightning outfit that looked very good. And I've noticed recently her title now glows in the dark as well. So they're really going all out with the glow in the dark theme, which is good to see. They're obviously getting behind her really well. But I noticed a couple of weeks ago the W was a little bit glow in the darky, and that's all I saw, and now the whole title is glow in the dark. And you can tell because I don't know if you've seen the width or the thickness of the title. There's so much to it, it's a lot thicker. So if you get the chance to have a look, maybe compare Jinder Mahal's WWE title to Naomi's WWE title. It's very interesting to see the size and thickness between the two belts. So after the tag team match, we had Rusev come out for a one-on-one match against Chad Gable. I really like Chad Gable. He's really growing on me. He's really Kurt Angle-esque. I mean, he used an ankle lock in the match, and he does he did a moonsault, and he does a lot of the German suplexes. He's really Kurt Angle-esque. I really enjoyed the way he wrestles. So, however, Rusev just did come out on top in the match and locked in the accolade for the win. But Gable obviously gave him a good showing because he wasn't a pushover. Rusev gets on the mic and says that he was promised a worthy opponent when he came to Smackdown, and he says that Cena winning just a flag match doesn't mean that anybody can beat him. So he says he's got no opponent for SummerSlam, because everybody's afraid of him, and that's where Randy Orton comes out. So after being screwed in the Punjabi prison mat, Randy Orton obviously doesn't care anymore, and he's going to move on to a feud with Rusev. A bit poor storytelling there with Randy not really... I don't even think he was on the show last week, was he? I mean, I know he's had 2 or 3 rematches for the championship, but that's how they're ending it, is the Great Khali just comes out for one night, chokes him, and lets Jinder Mahal retain the title. So Randy comes down to the ring, Rusev sort of barks at him a bit, and Randy just puts him down with an RKO and walks off. So pretty obvious that they're going to build up Randy Orton over Rusev again. So we move on. We had a dream match for the #1 contendership for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Shinsuke Nakamura versus John Cena. It was exactly that. It was a very, very exciting match, to say the least. I honestly thought that John Cena was going to win. I did not see Shinsuke Nakamura beating John Cena, withstanding 2 AAs. The one spot in the match that worried me was Shinsuke Nakamura did a German suplex on John Cena, and wow, he landed really badly on the back of his neck. It was quite frightening. I could see him touching his fingers and feeling for his hands, and I think even on commentary JBL was you could just hear in his voice he was very concerned. So other than that, the match was good. Shinsuke Nakamura looked like an absolute beast coming out of it, and John Cena put him over completely clean, which I did not see coming at all. But I did speculate last week that could be a possibility. If he did put him over, then who is he going to work with? So I don't know who's going to be John Cena's opponent for SummerSlam. That's going to be interesting to see how they roll out with that. I'm trying to think, maybe he doesn't have a match on the show and he gets quite filthy. I know that he and Roman Reigns have been talking a bit of smack over Twitter, sort of just manly BS crap, if you want some, come get some, all that sort of stuff. Maybe John Cena interferes in the main event of SummerSlam in the Fatal 4-Way and stops Roman Reigns from winning the championship. Would that be a heelish type thing to do, or who knows? So that could be a possibility. Other than that, I don't know what they're going to have for Cena to do at SummerSlam, unless he hosts it or something, but that's going to be quite interesting to see. So Shinsuke Nakamura beat John Cena clean in the middle of the rings. The knee to the face and the 1, 2, 3, and John Cena put him over and raised his hand after the match. After the match, we had Baron Corbin come in and try and beat down Shinsuke Nakamura. John Cena actually gave Shinsuke Nakamura a bit of a hand as well, so proving that he still had a little bit left in the tank. And it was good to see that Cena was okay. I mean, he might have hurt himself a little bit, but at least there wasn't any serious damage done. It was quite scary the way he landed on the back of his neck. Thank God John Cena's okay, because the last thing that WWE needs is for another star to be hurt. They've had so many injuries over the past 12 months, they don't need any more. So the interference with Baron Corbin does concern me, that he will be cashing in his Money in the Bank at SummerSlam if Nakamura does defeat Jinder Mahal. Who would have thought that in 2017 SummerSlam, the WWE Championship would be fought over by an Indian and someone from Japan? Quite funny to think about when you think of the past 10 SummerSlams when John Cena's been the majority of the champion, or Seth Rollins, or Brock Lesnar, or Triple H, or people like that. It's quite interesting to see that it's going to be a multicultural WWE Championship match at SummerSlam, but unfortunately, if Shinsuke Nakamura does win, I do see an American walking out with the title. I do see Jinder Mahal and the Singh brothers cracking the shits, beating the crap out of him after the match, and then Baron Corbin comes out and cashes in his Money in the Bank on Shinsuke Nakamura. That is the last thing that I would want to see. I do not want to see Baron Corbin as the WWE champion over Shinsuke Nakamura. That would suck. Just from a personal preference, because I'm such a fan of Shinsuke Nakamura. I love his entrance with the violin and the way he's just a complete mix of Michael Jackson and all that sort of stuff. I don't want to see this balding guy that I don't really rate that much as a wrestler cash in on someone who's just an electric superstar. He's the kind of guy that walks into a room and all eyes go on him, I reckon. So I don't want to see Baron Corbin cashing in, but I think that's going to be the case. Otherwise, I could see Shinsuke losing and then Baron Corbin cashes in on maybe the next pay-per-view. Maybe Jinder Mahal cheats again and then there's a rubber match. The Singh brothers are completely banned from the ring. Shinsuke Nakamura finally beats Jinder Mahal And then the Singh brothers come out, they all beat the crap out of him, and then Baron Corbin will come out after that and then cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase. So I definitely see it happening on Shinsuke Nakamura more than I do with Jinder Mahal. I don't think they're going to run a Jinder Mahal and Baron Corbin program because, geez, how boring would that be? That would be one of the most boring things to watch. Smackdown looked like it was a very interesting show. Probably not as good as last week, but they're definitely doing a lot better than Raw. The shorter shows make it a lot easier to stomach the show and sit back and enjoy it. So it's going to be interesting. SummerSlam's going to have a lot of answers to a lot of our questions. That's it from me, everybody. So thank you very much for listening to this review, and we will speak to you next Tuesday. Ladies and gentlemen,